Hi, Tuesday. Well, it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, ECKD. Look, I'm getting confused. I've done so many of these this week. We had Monday Malarkey on Monday. We had OTR's Titans on Tuesday. And it's Epic Wednesday. It's epic because it's ECKD. E-Cycle Club Denmark. And of course, if you've ever been to that country, and particularly Copenhagen, you will know that this is one of the cycling capitals of the world. And we are very, very privileged to have ECKD on IndieVelo and actually running races that we're allowed to broadcast and commentate on, because these are the best. Your Wednesday night host, ECKD, every Wednesday here on IndieVelo. We can't promise we'll broadcast every week, but we'll try to. And boy, these races are great. They come with a great reputation from RGT. I remember commentating on a couple of those, and certainly in the very early days when they ran a big convention from Copenhagen in a big hall with people e-cycling in the place. It was amazing, and what they've done and grown into has been amazing too. There's even ECKD sub-clubs. They are that big. They are probably, alongside the UK, I would guess, the leading nation outside of Zwift. For a nation that's riding on one of the independent platforms, this is one of the great cycling clubs of the world. There's no doubt about that. So let's have a look at what we'll be riding tonight. It's a it's Loop the Loop course, isn't it, tonight? Sorry, all these loops and lakes. Here we are, Loop the Loop. Now you can see this is quite coastal. It goes round the South Lake, then back again. So there'll be a few bumps there. Look at the profile at the top of your screen. Now it's going up the second set of bumps, which is the outside, then along the coast, and then finally back up to the velodrome there. So it's a whole loop at the outside of the island. 27.2 kilometres, but only 189 metres of climbing. But have a look at those bumps along the profile at the top. They come periodically along the way. So you can see right at the start, there's a downward from the velodrome down to the coast. And we get those first two bumps as we go up over the lip of the lake and the South Lake, and then back over the lip to get back down, along flat around the island. Then we start getting a series of bumps at the midway, about 2/3 of the way through the race. That's all the little bumps around the North Lake, then back down to the coast, fairly flat along the coast, one minor rise, and then that race up to the velodrome at the end with that incline. Now, we were racing little loops on Monday on Monday Malarkey, and that I predicted at the time that I thought that rise to the velodrome would be where the race split. It didn't actually split just as they entered the velodrome, and very interesting it was too. I am expecting, if there is a bunch sprint at the end, that rise at the end will be very, very telling. However, I suspect the peloton to fragment, particularly around the North Lake. 17 seconds to go. Let's go over to the start line and see what we've got. Look at that massive turnout. 47 riders, absolutely fantastic. This is what you want. Look at all those red and white ECKD kits. Well done, the Danes, supporting your own. Absolutely fantastic. Look at the names we've got down here as well. Looking forward to this. Off they go. No pacer tonight. Interesting. I had a pacer in Monday Malarkey when I went off the velodrome, and it was slightly disorientating on the downward slope. This is split up quite a lot on the first. This is what happens when you don't get a pacer. Everybody burns off the front, isn't it? I had a pacer on this course on Monday. You get to here and it's downwards, and because nobody's got any brakes, they go past the pacer, but it kept it together. Look at the difference tonight. Absolutely strewn out as everybody powers off in the traditional sense. When we didn't have pacers, they're downhill. We'll all have a chat about this. Plenty of ECKD shirts in there. The orange from the Pedalers riders, and out the front it's Yuchi Kanai, the Japanese. He's ahead of the Dane Kasper Pedersen, and I think this will change. It's one of the Pedalers riders that goes off the front, Mathias Lejeune, a fellow Scandinavian from Sweden. But look at all the Danish shirts in there. There's a bit of a bunch formed, and the groups will split up in this. 46 riders still in the race. Yuchi Kanai leading the way. Look at this. Bjørn Ossenbrink, Jorgen van Beurs, Henrik Mard again, Daniel Eremia, Jan Janssens as well in there as well. Brian Christensen. I see Jan Janssens from Pedalers as well. The orange jerseys with the black shorts are Pedalers. Just looking at the green, white, and red. I don't know if that's Craig Jones or somebody else was wearing that last night as well. So we'll have to work out who that is in the course of the race. The grey jerseys are IndieVelo Founders Club riders, and not sure who the white with the little symbol in the middle is. We'll work that one out. Ratio, I see, have got riders in there. They are orange, not quite as orange. You can see a Ratio jersey just in there now. So that might be a Pokemotion one, actually. So that's a Pokemotion one with the black and red in there, orange in there as well. So OTR there in green and white, as we can see. Just picking out jerseys for you. The red with the white band around the middle is, of course, ECKD. Our host race organisers now. And we still got 46 in the race, which is fantastic. And these really growing, coming of age. As we've got Nicky Hogard, who's been racing this week, to being chased by James Melville. James in the blue rides for Glasgow United. If you see Alistair McAlpine or Stevie Cooper, they also ride for the same team. I'm not sure they've coordinated their jerseys yet. But James Melville, that's the blue jersey with the dark blue band in the middle, and he's just being overtaken. But it is Craig Jones in the resplendent green, white and red of Wales, of course. Matthias Lejeune is the Swede now for Pedlars off the front. Niels Bjornstein is behind him. Well, in fact, it's Kasper Pettersson now from the let's look at that, 4 Danes, and then we have the Romanian Daniel Iremia just behind them, and look at that, the top 10 has got 7 Danes in it. I know it's jostling. Jan van der Linden from the Netherlands in there as well. Northern Europe quite dominant. Alex Plager for Ratio is the Ratio rider from Germany, of course, Deutschland, and the lead just changing here. So what do we got? It's I don't think there's any big gaps. 1 or 2 seconds from this little group. I don't think that will hold. We're on the coast, and if you look, I mean, we've got 24 to go. Nobody's going to burst away at the moment, but you can actually drop people off the back if you continue the pressure at the front, as we see one of the IndieVelo Founders Club riders coming through there. It's Mike Swart. Mike Swart, heavily involved in RGT over the years. Fantastic to see you in the race, Mike. Well done. Mike has done so much for RGT over the years, running RGTDB and things like that. A great contributor and somebody who's helped I think make the RGT community, and I think you would forgive me for saying that the RGT community have come over here and made their mark in IndieVelo in the recent weeks. There's plenty of RGT community people here. Mike Swart has contributed a lot over time, so that's good to see, isn't it? ECKD with 3 riders off the front now: Kurt Pedersen and Pearl Lauritsen, in there, interspersed by Hugh Yars. You know, everybody laughs. Everybody laughs when somebody off television reads one of those out, and only halfway through pronouncing it, you realise that that's not a real name. We're going to call you Hugh, and we will miss off your surname. I fell for that one, didn't I? And hopefully, we will all be forgiven. Dan Cobberup. I'm now wondering, I'm not going to read every name very, very carefully, because Hugh certainly, as I say, caught me unawares. I mean, you're just reading them off the top of your head, and of course, you've got to enjoy the joke. Grant, it's great seeing Marv Van Beurs in there. Brother Jorgen, I'm not sure, I haven't seen him yet. David Blodgett in there. Bjorn Ossenbrunk, Martin Tilquist, Marino Sessum from Italy. Great to see you. Brian Christensen in there. Marv Van Beurs we've mentioned, and I think most of the yeah, that's Per Soderborg in there as well. So this group thinning out a little bit. We still have plenty of racers in the field now. We still have 45 racers racing, I believe. James Melville just on the back of this group. He will stay on there. James is a strong rider. He's just sort of marking his time. I think he'll get involved later on. And remember, 22 kilometres still to go. James pushing out 2:48, quite light for him, cadence 72. That's casual riding for a rider of James's calibre, and I think he's just marking his time in the group. But this group now, about 30 riders And we've got 45 on the field, so 15 people outside the groups. Never worry about this. This is fun for all. This is E-Cycling Club Denmark's slogan, fun for all. I love it. I wish it was mine. I want it. I'm not going to steal it, but I might repeat it. But I'll always credit you. So that's their IP, fun for all, and ECKD races. Always are. It's getting dark. I should imagine in Denmark it probably is. It's getting dark here in the UK. Where I'm broadcasting from. I'm probably on a parallel with Denmark, so it's probably about the same amount of light. Alex Plaisir for Horacio Racing being featured at the moment, putting out power of 521. That's quite a lot. Alex, mixed fortunes this week. I've seen him racing. One he fell back on. There's two Horacio riders in there. Who's the other one then? Oh, it's Jorgen van Beurs. So they're both van Beurs brothers in the race. So there's Ingmar and Jorgen and Alex Plaisir making up at least 3 Horacio. Wouter Clay's in there for Moon Riders. Wouter, you should be looking after my data. Nobody is going to understand that comment at all. But just before the race, I was in touch with Wouter, and we were talking about something to do with how my race results work. And here he said he would sort something out, and here he is on the race. I don't blame you at all, Wouter. I think I'd rather race than do my data, but I'm very grateful. Wouter, another one of these unsung heroes. You know, you see him at the front winning races so often, such a star on V-Racing, E-Racing, and yet I think very few people just understand how much he puts in the background. Wouter Clay is very much a community man who has done a lot, and I mean a very lot for the community over the years. So he stars both front of house and back room, you know, so it's a bit of a star. This is really thinning out, and that's because of the pressure on the front. We're on a -1 descent at the moment. We have been over the first hump as we go to the lip of the Southern Lake, and the group has spread a little bit. Descents can do this. It quite often gets back to Carl Alexander Persson, great to see you in here. Another leisurely one, cadence of 64 and power of 157. You're taking it easy, my friend. The Swede is just behind Jakob Huvud from Denmark. A lot of Scandinavians, and it's great to see the Swedes supporting the Scandinavians. John Sammer in there for Pokemotion from Staffordshire in the UK. As off the front, we have Daniel Irima, the Romanian, isn't it? I think it's a Romanian flag. He's been chased down by Ingmar van Beurs, Martin Oronson, sorry, and Yuichi Kachai still there, the Japanese in the pink and white strip. We're looking at Daniel Irima getting 230 watts. I can do this, right? But I don't know why. But I mean, I never stay in. It's when they thin these things out. I can never stay in groups like this. I can do 230 watts, but every so often somebody will put a spurt on the front and make you pay, and you'll get dropped out of the group. Heinrich Mard at the front now, pedalers in that orange, followed by teammate Matthias Lejon, Per Soderberg. Look at that. 3 Swedes in the top 3. Amazing. And we've got 3 Danes also making up the top 10. Japanese, Germany. Christophe Contant from the Rhone Valley, Clermont-Ferrand in France. You've been out racing quite a lot this week, Christophe. Great to see you as well. Kurt Pedersen making up one of the 3 Danes. Morten Tilquist and Tom Fromling for Denmark. Björn Ossenbroek from Belgium. Wouter Clays from Belgium. Björn Ossenbroek, sorry, from Germany. I beg your pardon. The screen moved. Germany and Belgium have the same colours on a different axis. Jan Janssens for pedalers. Looking back at this group a little bit further back. James Melville now off the front. This is brave stuff, but it does cause fragmentation in the peloton. On a 0% gradient, we're going round the lake at the moment. We're just about to hit the little climb out of the lake and the lip. And I wonder if what James is doing, as so many riders do, he's putting out 400 watts of power. Now, he's eked out 4 seconds. I don't think James is expecting to win the race from this. What I think James is doing is making it so that if he gets to the top of this climb ahead of everybody, that's fine. But if on the other hand, they're going up faster up the climb than he is, 14% here. People are beginning to know the courses, and look how much they're catching up. He knew what he was doing. He was getting that little space so that on the 14% bit, they would catch him and he'd find himself back in the front group. Those that haven't done that, look at the fragmentation. Absolutely amazing. Everybody's now going to have to work. It's not very long, but that 14% absolutely shattering. I didn't think it would break up this much on the first lap, but it has. James Melville worked that one out, knew the route, and played his cards immaculately. Well done, James Melville. It keeps you in the front group. Look at the split as we watch other riders coming up the hill in the other direction. Absolutely amazing. And that is what working out the course and a bit of tactics does for you. That's why James Melville is a leading rider on IndieVelo and was on RGT. Absolutely fantastic. Now then, in the dust, getting harder and harder for the commentator to pick out the jerseys, of course. It's Wouter Clay's off the front for Moon Riders. I'm not sure if Wouter is going to sort out a team or not. We were talking about this this morning, actually, and I think Wouter needs to sort out a Moon Riders team if he hasn't already. I think he has, actually, and it's got the grey jersey. I think I might have mentioned that. John Sammer off the front for Pokemotion now. Don't get the Pokemotion jerseys confused with the Peddlers ones. Peddlers ones are all orange. The orange and you see the one at the front, mainly black with orange strips, is Pokemotion. Mainly black with an orange logo is Ratio Racing. Alex Plaisir in the top 6, a little bit further back. So orange, quite a popular colour, and they're interspersed at the moment by Tom Freeling, who is in that group as well. Plenty of orange there. Look at it though, the fragmentation. There's about 3 or 4 people trying to get off the back. We're probably down to a dozen riders, still with 16 kilometres to go in the race. This has thrilled. That's a Ratio Racing jersey at the back of the little trio there. It is, of course, Ingmar van Beurs. He's with Henrik Mard Peddlers in the bright orange, and Kurt Pedersen in the ECKD. They've got back on. That's great. It makes the bunch that little bit bigger. It makes it more exciting. We like, we're the spectators. We like lots of people in the group. The guys out the front want the group thinned. If there's contrasting ambitions, the viewer and the participants want the opposite here. When I say the participants want the opposite, I suspect those who are just hanging on this group probably don't want the opposite. They're probably with us. But it's still being stretched. Look at this. Really putting some pressure on the front now. And this is causing havoc. It's Uche Kanai at the moment. Wouter Clay's aiding and abetting him. Martin Tilquist, John Sammet not saying no to a bit of pressure on the front either. Bert Soderberg in there. It's coming together though as they go through one of the arches. Not relevant to our race. The arches are there for all the various courses on IndieVelo, and so we're going to some that are not lit up. You can tell whether it's relevant to our race if the little box hanging from the arch is lit up with a message. Now then, with just over 15 kilometres to go, oh sorry, it's nearly 16, isn't it? 16 kilometres to go. Yasha Kanai is off the front, but we have an announcement to make. You may or may not know, but Tour du Monde was absolutely massive on RGT over the years, and it's not going away. It's coming to IndieVelo. Have a look at the trailer. The race is on your left if you want to keep tabs on what's going on, but on the right, all the details you want. 12 stages in this. It's coming in January. OTR organising it, so you know it's got that it's got goodness all over it. So live broadcast from ZMS, of course. What else would you expect? Great. This is going to be one of the biggest things you've seen on IndieVelo to date, as IndieVelo grows, matures, and turns into the bright young thing. ECKD race, fun for all. We're on week 3 here, and back to the action. It's Uche Kanai still off the front. It's Jorgen van Beurs chasing him. Ratio Racing in the mix. They got 4 seconds on the other with 14.6 kilometres to go. Not seeing that one getting away, but you never know. This is a strong group behind. Less and less ECKD riders in there, though. Don't forget, not every ECKD rider necessarily has that red and white jersey. They have sub-teams that wear different jerseys. I'll point them out where I recognise them, okay? I'm not sure that I know every single one, but I know some of them. BMXFX, for example, and some of them you just recognise because you know the riders. Ratio in there, Pokemotion in there. That's John Samet, of course, and Alex Plaisir. So was it Alex Plaisir? I think it was Ingmar van Beurs, wasn't it? I do beg your pardon. Guessing a little bit. Look at that, though. 3 Pedalers riders in there. 3 orange jerseys in there, making up that front group. 1 ECKD chasing the group. It's interesting times, isn't it? We're looking at Kurt Pedersen at the moment now. He's riding for Pedalers in that orange. And group coming together a little bit there. And 1 OTR rider in there, which is great to see. Don't forget, OTR are back on IndieVelo tomorrow at their New Horizons event. Now, these two have cracked out 7 seconds, maybe 8 if you look at Kurt Pedersen. That's quite phenomenal. Will they work together? They were quite interesting. Jorgen van Beurs absolutely ripping this apart. 359 watts. Now, that's quite high for this stage in the race on the flat, so he's obviously doing this on purpose. They've got 8 seconds on Henrik Mard and 10 seconds on the rest of that front group. This is quite big. Now they've got a series of bumps coming up, and if we go back to James Melville's tactic at the last count, here's Henrik Mard. He's chasing them down, but he's only got a second on John Samet. But John Samet's eked out a second on Kurt Pedersen. It's fragmenting him, but it is coming back together. I think Henrik Mard is going to find himself in a group, even though John Samet goes by. And so does Jan van der Linden as well. In fact, quite a few people going through past Henrik. I think he's paid the price for that little chase and is now settling back into the group. Just needs to make sure the group doesn't go past him. I think he's caught the drift. He's settled into a bunch. There's one right off the back there. I think it might be Mike Swart. I don't know. They're all chasing down, but the gap to the front now is getting significant. So we need to work out what this group's going to do. It's not coherent, is it? Because you look at the way this is. It's coming down a little bit. It's under 10 seconds now. But unlike a real life race where teams might work together and go on the front, it is less coherent. I mean, some teams work together and others kind of every man for himself or every person for themselves. But some teams will ride independently of each other. I mean, we at West London don't necessarily work for a rider. I know that Ratio Racing definitely do. There's no doubt about that. They very much, if they want somebody to win the race or somebody needs points in a series, they will work for that rider. It's absolutely fantastic. Really great as well. I mean, I believe it. 8 seconds to these two now, so they've lost a couple of seconds, as we said earlier, and 44 kph, decent speed, still on the flat, but they're about to hit those hills. What will happen then? As I say, an 8 second gap might be just what they need ahead of that bunch of hills. And if you look at the profile at the bottom, you'll see it's like a saw's teeth, isn't it? It's up, down, and of course, if these two realise that, yes, you can get over one ramp and survive, but over several, you need a bit of a gap. That's what they're doing. 6 seconds, though. They haven't got it all their way. They've gone it inland. You notice a turn inland, it will go uphill from here automatically. 2%, 3%. They're on 3% now. The gap down to 5 seconds to the leaders, 6 seconds to the others. Don't forget the group behind will fragment a little bit on this. Still at 3%. Not absolutely burning. But at race speeds, of course, that you feel that more than you would on your Sunday club ride. And at 4% now. This group's sticking together. I'm quite surprised at that. You usually get a bit of fragmentation. Of course, this is less the case in strong groups at the front because you've got a lot of strong riders. So you don't fragment quite as much as you further back. Now, these two, over the first one, they're on the first descent now. There are 6 climbs in all. They've done 1 out of 6 of these little ramps in this section. They've held 6 seconds. So no damage on the first climb for these two. This stringing out a little bit, not quite as bunched as it was. They are on the descent. It'll probably close up at the bottom of the descent. Won't take very long. These guys now coming up to the next of the saw teeth. 3%. They've got 5 seconds on the group behind. Never mind that. It's if they get over the top first, They will probably gain that second they've just lost back. This group bunching up again, though. This is a positive sign for us, the viewer, and the gap looks to me like it's closing, although the front riders over the top now. They'll be going downhill. Will they eke it out or not? The gap visually looks a little bit less to me. It's down to 3 or 4 seconds. They are getting caught after 2 climbs. Now, the biggest one out of the 6 is about to come. They're on a -4 at the moment. Can they eke out any advantage? No, the chasing pack are still 3 to 4 seconds behind. Jorgen van Beurs now pushing off the front. Yuichi Kanai on his wheel could probably do with getting a bit closer than that. But the bunch are looming. Now, they've lost something like 5 seconds since the start of the climbs over the first 2, and we've now got the one that's going to hurt as the bunch catches them. Jorgen van Beurs down on the bars now, trying to push it up, but here comes one of the Pokemotion riders, and they're getting swallowed up by the bunch. It's 7%. This will hurt. The strongest climbers will do it here. If anything's going to happen, it's on this section, down to 6%, easing a little bit. Nobody's really eked out, but one of the Rassio riders dropping off the back there. Not quite sure who that is. We shall have a look later and work this out. It's Mike Swart for IndieVelo Founders Club, doing very, very well, but it's Wouter Claes taking up the lead, being chased by John Sammet, 2 very, very strong riders. They can match each other at the finish, and I'm afraid that's Jorgen van Beurs, and he's out of contention. Always love seeing the Jorgen and Ingmar in the race. Jorgen's race not over. He will get a good place, but he's not going to be in the front bunch. This group now strung out, but it can come back together again. They're over the biggest climb. There are only 3 into 6 climbs gone, and it's thinning and thinning and thinning. And even when they get over these, watch Kurt Pedersen now off the back of that group behind Jan van der Linden. This has fragmented it, Pokemotion rider, and here we have Yuichi Kanai, who's he's not doing quite as well as he was, is he now? We have Matthias up there. Now going back up to the pedalers riders by the look of it in the orange. We look at this group now. 15th for Henrik Mard now riding for pedalers, and you can see that group strung out but broadly together again as they go over the top of climb number 4. But the group getting thinner and thinner, down to about 15 riders still in contention, with Henrik Mard being the last stage. Yuichi Kanai, after all that work on the front, now 9 seconds off the pace. Jakob Ivid behind him. Jan van der Linden, we've already mentioned. Up to the front, it's Moon Riders, and it's Christophe Contant from Pedalers with him, and Daniel Irimama, the Romanian, getting overtaken now by one of the Pedalers riders. It is, of course, Matthias Lejean, the Swede, being joined by teammate Henrik Mard. 2 Swedes riding for Pedalers. Wouter Claes chasing them down. Daniel Irimama and Per Soderborg for OTR, another Swede. Look at Sweden's dominance in this now. Martin Tillquist, last of the ECKD runners, and of course James Melville still in contention. Morten Tillquist, Bjorn Ossenbrink, Christophe Contant, and Marino Sesson, who we've hardly mentioned tonight, just a couple of seconds off the leaders. And Marino riding for ADR from Italy. Great to have you all here. And this is the group. This is the group from which the winner will come. One more of these little ramps, and we're out of the lakes, back to the coast. There are climbs to come, but this group of around 15 riders now, Karl Axel van der Pedersen just about in that group. Yuichi 12 seconds behind. With this group of about 15 riders is going to produce the winner. Pedalers must be delighted with 3 riders in that group as well. It's strung out, but I think it will settle down. They're over the last of the climbs. James Melville off the front currently, the last of the little ramps. There is an incline as we follow the coast around, and then the final ascent back up to the velodrome. 7.2 kilometres to go. James Melville at the front, Wouter Claes behind him. I think this is probably going to settle down into a bunch for a little while. The incline between here and the velodrome, or the one halfway between here and the velodrome, I don't think it's significant enough, but I think somebody will try and attack on that just to see what damage they can do. But anyway, The bunch is bunching up and they are on the coast. Not a bad idea if you can, just to sit in this and take the draft, let everybody else do the work. As I say, the incline that we've got coming is, it's marginal, it's gentle, it's not very high, and it's not very steep. So I don't think we will lose too many people on the next incline. Although, look at the front there, James Melville is testing the water, seeing who wants to follow. Ekes out a second immediately. He's still got 6.4 kilometres to go. That's going to be hard to hold. But again, he might like the advantage of being out front before you get to the climbs. That climb to the velodrome is going to be the telling one. Maybe James sees this little incline coming as he ekes out 4 seconds on Henrik Mard, Wouter Claes, Christophe Contant, Daniel Irimia, so the group here, it always takes somebody to lead the chase and everybody else to get worried that they're going to lose out if they don't follow, to set a real chase up. 45 kph, wind direction behind them. They've got a wind behind them, and James Melville now 4 seconds. They're holding the gap as they charge. Wind now coming to the side of James, so it'll be a little less advantageous. Down to 3 seconds to Wouter Claes. I think that's going to close. You can see it visually. Somebody dropping off the back tells you that the bunch is putting on some effort because somebody at the back is feeling the pain. However, the rider we're watching now rejoining, and the bunch down to, about 15 riders still, isn't it? I don't think we lost anybody in particular in there. James Melville with 3 seconds on the group. They're just letting him dangle there, I think. They're just sort of on that rise. It's 1%. As I say, it's only we're still on the coast, and it's just that it kind of goes over a less beachy bit where there's a sort of cliff rather than the beach, and it comes back down again to the beach. We're nearly at the top of that. It's only 1%, although it has dropped a second off James Melville's advantage. In fact, he's about to be caught. It's down to 1 second, nearing the top, but not quite at the top. James got that about right because he finds himself still in the bunch, having benefited from being out front. Will have burnt some matches though. Henrik Morton is now off the front. Matthias Lejeune, Wouter Claes back in the field there as we look at this group. Nobody particularly pulling away at the moment. There's a rider slightly off the back. I think it might be Carl Axel Sander Pedersen, but he pulls himself back into the group. Christophe Contant just giving up the front to John Sammut from Poker Motion, the man from Staffordshire in the UK. OTR represented by Per Soderberg, Henrik Mard for Pedalers, Matthias Lejeune for Pedalers, Wouter Claes, Moon Riders, Bjorn Ossenbrunk, IndieVelo Fallers Club, and Morten Tilquist, TQST. I think that might be his own team, actually. I'm guessing. Anyway, thankfully, I haven't had to comment on here. Now, this is always interesting. This splits. Now, this I can reliably tell you it has exactly the same amount of elevation or descent and exactly the same distance. But if you go the wrong side and get in a smaller group, you will get less draft. My anticipation, and if you look, the people who are on the right-hand side of the split, slightly ahead, but there's going to be a drop here for the people on the left-hand side, which gives them an extra little bit of descent speed, which should mean, in theory, academically, it should all come together the other side. But in fact, it never seems to be consistent to me. And I think the group on the right-hand side have got an advantage out of this. They've got an advantage because they got the dip first and the other guy's catching up. Not much, though, and it will come together. So the academic theory that it should make no difference, whereas I think psychologically it does. If you go in a bigger group and they're racing, I think you do get the advantage because you just picked the wrong group. But in terms of road and ascent or descent, depending on the direction you're going, it does make no difference. It doesn't seem to have done a lot of damage here. Everybody back together again. We're over the medium, the shallow hump in the middle. We're coming up under one of those banners. As I say, remember, you can see the black box hanging from the banner. If it's not lit up, it's irrelevant to our race. It's a start or finish or some sort of marker on a race that you're not in. So, Per Soderberg off the front for OTR. James Melville, I don't know if you're watching. No, I think James is looking after his TTTs. James running New Horizons tomorrow for OTR on IndieVelo Thursday, 7 o'clock. Look out for that one. We're on ECKD. It's here every Wednesday. It's your big Wednesday bash. It's Matthias Lejean off the front, Christophe Contant, Wouter Clays, all in the group. The orange of the Pedalers jersey standing out. You really notice it, don't you? Poker Motion's jersey, fantastic though it is. Not quite as eye-catching because it's got less orange. But don't discount John Sammet and Poker Motion. They are a strong team, and John is a strong rider. He will put in a challenge, I'm sure. Christophe Contant now leading Matthias and John. Per Soderberg, OTR, Wouter Clays in there. As you expect, Marino Sesson. We've undermentioned you today, Marino. You've been hiding in the pack, but we know you're there. Alex Plager still in the group for Racio. Daniel Uremia from Romania in there. Bjorn Ossenbrunk, the German IndieVelo Fowlers Club, in the group. Henrik Mard, remember. Tom Fromling also in there as Danish rider. Tom Fromling in the T-Quest team as well. I'm wondering if Martin Tilquist, I wonder if that's the name of the team. Morten Tilquist, sorry. Morten, I wonder if that's the name of the team rather than your surname, or whether your surname is the name of the team. I'm fascinated to find out. I shall ask Jan Hansen when I get a moment. Thanks very much, Jan. He's the organiser of these races, for putting on ECKD races on a Wednesday night. Absolutely fantastic. So much going on. What a fantastic club. I don't think there's an equivalent to ECKD anywhere that runs its own sort of national e-cycling club on independent platforms like this. Absolutely amazing what they've achieved. I think it's fantastic. And as I say, I sort of remember them. I don't think it was the actual launch, but I think it was their first big event. And I was asked to commentate on some of the races they ran, and I was very impressed with what they put on. Henrik Mard now using his real name. I can only run that joke for so long, can't I? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to explain it. Henrik Mard appearing as Henrik Mard. For Pedalers, the Swedish rider ahead of Wouter Clays. 4 seconds, 1.7 kilometres to go. The 4 seconds will depend on Henrik's climbing ability here. If he's good at climbing, the 4 seconds is going to win in the race. If he is using that as he turns inland, it's the turn inland and the gradient will change. -1% at the moment. The first little section of this, it does go in zigzags, so it's not immediate in the way that it sort of raises the gradient. 1% now. So when I say it's immediate, it's almost immediate. So Henrik has got a small gap on the others. You can see all the hairpins here as it goes up. Now, the gap is, he's being chased down, isn't he, already? And this is Tom Fromling. T-Quest is 2 seconds behind. He's going to catch Henrik. Henrik has not got the advantage from his 4 seconds. This is very powerful from Tom Fromling. It's probably enough to do it. James Melville not having any of that, though. James Melville responding for Glasgow United in the blue. Tom Fromling, the Danish rider, now goes through the Flamme Rouge. 1 kilometre to go. James Melville not far behind him. Mike Schwartz following up. Carl Axel van der Pedersen, Daniel Uremia and Wouter Clays all on the chase, but it's strung out. Nobody quite matching. It's not very far around the velodrome. You need to catch him now. James Melville has caught Tom Fromling. Is this a 2x2 race? James just catching on now. Needs to sit on the wheel, in my view, and take the draft. They're not quite at the velodrome. We've got 600 metres to go. Remember, it's not far around the velodrome. You'll go around this last hairpin. It's that last hairpin, and there's a more sweeping bend, and then you see it. But the bunch are catching up too. So it's not going to be two of them. Tom Fromling puts in a spurt. He's getting away from James. Maybe James has run out. But look at this, it's John Sammet now taking up the lead. He's got Marino Sesson behind him from ADR, the Italian and the British rider now, separate from the rest. And it's Wouter Clays on the chase. This is going to be a three-way sprint, is my prediction. 260 metres to go. They're on the velodrome. Wouter Clays, Marino Sesson, John Sammet. Any one of these three can win this race. John Sammet, chin on the handlebars now. Put on the pressure. He's still got a sizable lead. And you can see the finishing line. But here comes Wouter Clays. Will the finishing line come first? I think he's just going to hang on. Oh my goodness. What a finish from John Sammet. Wouter Clays, fantastic. And Marino Sesson taking third there. My goodness. That was immense. This is why you need to be at an ECKD race on a Monday night. John Samet, Wouter Claes, Reno Sesson, fantastic finish. James Melville tried very, very hard, just missing out on that sprint. And Daniel Irimia and Carl-Axel Zander Pedersen, Christophe Contant making up the top 7. What a rate. Henrik Mard now coming in, taking 15th place. Great ride. I think anybody who finished this high up. Yuji Kanai is somewhat behind, still on the climb, and he's watching some other riders coming down now. I assume that's people who finished. Haven't actually come out of the race, and just looking at the jerseys, I think I recognise some of those. So I think everybody's just stayed on the course and doing a bit of a warm down. So Yuji Kanai now 14 seconds ahead of Jakob Havid for ECKD. And he's clear 10 seconds ahead of Jorgen van Beurs for Ratio. Jan van der Linden for Pocomotion, another 2 seconds behind. Could have a three-way sprint. Ingmar van Beurs, four-way. Actually, there's a nice little bunch on about 45 seconds behind. I think Yuchi, he's done a lot on the race and probably deserves a nice easy run-in. Jakob Havid is not going to catch 12 seconds right now. It's gone out to 14. I think Jakob is probably giving up, and maybe Yuchi's just getting a second win as he approaches the finishing line. Well done, Yuchi. You lit up the race in places. Thanks very much for your contribution. Jakob Havid, the ECKD rider, riding for the host team now, comfortably 4 seconds ahead of Jan van der Linden, although it's not quite over yet. It will be, even though Jan gets that down to 3 seconds. Jakob coming in. Here's Jan van der Linden riding for Pocomotion, and we go back to Jorgen van Beurs, just ahead of his brother, both Ratio riders. Oh, Ingmar's got a bit of a tussle on now, and he just holds on to take that place. Casper Pettersson now in view, but he's behind David Brodget from IndieVelo Fanders Club. The American rider is going to take that next position, 23rd ahead of Casper. And we go back to Jan Janssens, Pedler's Belgian rider. It's Jakob Mattisson, another ECKD jersey. And we've got lots and lots of Danes coming in. Look at the side. Craig Jones messing up their clean sweep a little bit. Here's Paul Lauritsen, not in an ECKD jersey. He's been chased down by Nicky Hogard. Nicky about a metre away from taking that position from him. Next up, we have Martin Urim. I think we've missed Craig Jones there, which is always a shame, because I always give Craig a special mention, the man from Wales. This is Martin Orenson. Daniel Koptrup is going to be next. And here's Daniel. Dan, it's Cobrup. He's got 290 metres to go, just gets on the velodrome. So you can see it's about 250 metres on the velodrome and round. No one's going to catch him. Brian Christensen could do, but I don't think he will. Mark Siega is neck and neck with Brian Christensen. I wonder if that's going to be a bit of a sprint. The next two behind, 5 seconds behind, suggesting that Dan Cobrup's put a bit of pressure on at the front. Let's have a look at the next two and see them fighting this one out. And it's Brian Christensen, Mark Siega. Brian Christensen just holding on from Mark in that tussle. Going back, Jan Hansen, the organiser of these races. Lovely to speak to you again today, Jan. Always a pleasure, and well done for putting these on. Great effort. 47 starters, not to be sniffed at, is it? Absolutely superb. Well done, ECKD and Jan Hansen, your host, now in view. A cool 56 seconds behind Jesper Hugh and Peter McDermott for Alba. Peter, I was very educated on Monday, or somebody educated me. Alba, which I always took as that's the team that Peter McDermott rides in. Always took as Alba is an ancient word for Scotland, and I had assumed that it was something to do with Scotland. And I was taught this week that Alba Rosa, the team they ride from, Alba Rosa is in fact a White Rose of Yorkshire. It's a county in the UK. It's the biggest county in the UK, and their symbol is a white rose. So it symbolises Yorkshire and not Scotland. And I do remember somebody pointing out that when there was a referendum about Scottish independence, somebody pointing out that actually more people live in Yorkshire than Scotland, but they're not asking for independence, which was quite comedic. Anyway, I'm sure Yorkshire would love a bit of independence, wouldn't you? Anyway, Peter McDermott riding from Alba Rosa. We're watching Jan Hansen still. He's got 400 metres to go. and I don't think Independence Talks is really the subject matter for a bike race, so we'll swiftly move on to follow these riders. Peter McDermott now, Albert. Interesting thing, why not wear white if it's the White Rose of Yorkshire? Maybe I shall ask Peter that next time out. This is Jan Hansen back up there. He's 40 seconds ahead of Jesper. In fact, actually, I wonder if Peter McDermott is going to catch Jesper Hustvedt in the sprint. It's 3 seconds between them. Peter in with a shout. Yorkshire versus Denmark in that tussle if we get it. I think Jesper's just eking out a little bit. Jesper's eking out a little bit, so it's not going to happen. This is Jan, and we're going to go back to the other two and see. Now, I think Jesper's holding the gap. Don't know what's going to happen. This is Jan. Here's Jesper now. So he's got 6 seconds on Pete now. So Peter McDermott, and we can just see Pete just coming up the hill. That gap is too big with 300 metres to go. And, of course, Jesper will be on flat ground before Peter. So I'm afraid on this occasion, Pete, it's the Dane who's going to take your place. However, you are a comfortable 9 seconds ahead of the next Danish rider. So Yorkshire picking up points ahead of Danes nevertheless. Well done, Yorkshire. Fantastic. It is a beautiful county. If you ever come to the UK, I can honestly say there are parts of Yorkshire that are beautiful. Not every bit of it, but a lot of it. So Jesper taking the next position, and we shall go back to the Yorkshireman next. And here's our Peter coming up to the line. Well done, Pete. Absolutely fantastic to see you in the race. Thanks for being here tonight, and very, very well done. And Pete just coming in there. A few riders left to come in, mainly Danes and some Australian named Hugh. So, and we shall refrain from mentioning second names in Hugh's case. Anyway, the Rene Steenberg Olsen, coming through the Flamme Rouge here. Another one, Danish riders, not affiliated to a team. You need to get yourself an ECKD jersey, Rene. That's what you need. The man behind you, Malene Ligard. I say the man, I assume it's a man. The person behind you has definitely got an ECKD subscription, because they've got an ECKD team attachment. VATA, a couple of Danish riders. Sorry, it's Danish. Keep doing that. Danish riders behind with VATA. Not sure what that team is, but I would suspect that's another one of the sub teams for ECKD from Denmark. So absolutely superb. Isn't it brilliant how many Danes turn up in this? Absolutely. I mean, they really have got behind the whole movement in Denmark. Top country. If you've ever been there, love it. Lovely people. And don't forget, of course, Lego comes from Denmark, so it must be good, mustn't it? Unless you're concerned about the amount of plastic they use. Oh well, we won't get on to contentious political subjects, but we like Lego, don't we? I have cycled in Denmark as well, actually. Very windy when I went there, only once, and it was very windy. Malene Lagarde now is in 38th position, ahead of Hugh, Kim Christensen, Kay Christensen, Soren Bond, the last of the riders. So we're going to get over 40 riders finishing, which is pretty decent. IndieVelo still in beta testing, and getting numbers like this in the early days is phenomenal. And if you look at some of the races being put on by people like OTR and ECKD, and I'm privileged to say that my own race is Monday Malarkey every Monday, all of those three putting in great attendances. They were, of course, all established on RGT beforehand, and it's great to see that the legacy has carried over onto this bright new shiny platform, IndieVelo, here on IndieVelo Island. And Rene now coming in with 160 metres to go. We'll say nothing controversial if we can, as we've done referendums and the environment. We shall keep off politics. It's nothing to do with cycling. Right, Rene taking 37th position. Great stuff, Rene. Fantastic. Going back, this is Malene Ligard, and Malene now with 370 metres to go on the ECKD jerseys. Absolutely resplendent. If you're a British football fan, you will see a Middlesbrough shirt there. Looking at some of the results, 25th, Jakub Mattisson, Paulie Luritzen at 26th. Nicky Hogard, a regular rider across the races at 27. We missed Craig Jones coming in, but he was 28th. Love the kit, of course, Craig. You know that already. Martin Brum, it's at 29th. 30th was Dan Copperbrook. And 31st was Brian Christensen. As we watch Malene coming up to the line. Right, next back to the big man, shall we? So this is the big man. And appropriately, we get a camera shot that perhaps provokes debate about the pronunciation of his name. I'm sure you can make up the jokes yourself at home, right? I mean, I might sort of, set the landscape for you, and the cameraman might provoke the comment, but you can make your own jokes at home. Well done, Hugh. 400 metres to go. In yellow and green, the Australian colours, of course. And looking at some more results, so we don't have to mention his name. Mark Siega, the American, at 32nd, beat Jan Hansen, the organiser of this race, who in turn was ahead of stream of Danes, interspersed by the man from Yorkshire, Peter McDermott, Alba Rose, the White Rose of Yorkshire. Jasper Hutsfeld was just ahead of him, though. He did beat Henrik Poulsen, Rene Steenberg Olsen, and Melaine Lagarde. And next up, we're expecting to see big man Hugh coming in, the Aussie rider, now taking 39th position. Well done, Hugh, and thanks for the amusing name. Kim Christensen is just behind. Thanks for streaming, absolutely. Nicky Hogard, you are such an important part of the community. I see you in so many races. Thank you very much for making up the community as well, Nicky, and thank you very much for contributing with a remark. Great to see you again, as I always do. Nicky, one of the fixtures in these sorts of races. Kim Christensen now, and Kay Christensen, spelled completely differently, but pronounced the same by me. And I'm sure there's some irate Danish viewers saying he really can't pronounce these Danish names. I apologise. Linguistically, I am useless. Can just about manage some very bad French, and that's about my limit. I can communicate in French, but very, very badly. Kay Christensen, now Christensen with a K, beating Kim Christensen with a C over the line. A couple of Danish riders, and that probably wraps it up. We've got Soren Bond, who has 3.5 kilometres to go. I'm sure Soren is taking his wonderful scenery. Who wouldn't want to be near a sunny beach when you live in Northern Europe in the winter? I'm not sure that we have enough time to follow Soren all the way home, but it's great to see Soren in the race. We remind ourselves, and wow, it seems ages ago now, but wow, wasn't that a finish? John Sammer, Wouter Claes, two absolute gentlemen, Reno Sesson, James Melville. These are people that I absolutely love. Daniel Irimia, I don't know so well. Carl Alexander Pedersen and Christoph Conte. These are people that I absolutely love. They make up the community. Mike Schwall, Alex Plaisir, Tom Froemling I know less, but most of that top 10 names I'm very, very familiar with. Well done Tom Froemling and Daniel Irimia for interspersing my little club of friends. But well done everybody in that top 10. Well done ZMS for producing yet another brilliant stream. Remember that ECKD is here every single Wednesday, 7 o'clock in IndieVelo. It's your Wednesday night fix. Make sure you're part of it. Look out for Tour du Monde, which is coming up in January. That's going to be massive, 12 stages. On your weekly diet, of course, OTR have Tuesdays and Thursdays. And you'll see behind lots and lots of West London jerseys. And guess what? I run Monday Malarkey. So I've got to give a plug for my own event. Thank you very much to everybody who came out on Monday for my event. We had 79 Real People starters. I don't know if that is a record for the platform for a single race, but it certainly beat anything we've had on IndieVelo. Long way short of what we achieved on RGT, but the climb up to those numbers has been fantastic. We had 47 here tonight. I think we had 52 on Horizons from OTR's TTT last night. Numbers getting great. You know where the big races are. Monday's Monday Malarkey. Tuesday, of course, is Titans from OTR. Wednesday is ECKD, that you just watched, and Thursday, New Horizons from OTR. They're your midweek races. There are others. There are other things going on the platform, but those are the big 4 races of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'll be back on Monday for Monday Malarkey, my own race. I'm going to have a few days off from commentating just to rest my mouth. I think everybody who lives in this house with me will be very, very pleased that I'm resting my mouth too. But I look forward to giving it lots of exercise on Monday with you guys, the IV Elite Monday Malarkey, 7:30 p.m. UK time. See you there. Bye.